So I kind of just want to start off by talking about, the writing process and the creative process behind this whole album. Can you just talk a little bit about, the story behind it and what was the writing process like?
Yeah. The writing process was really just vulnerable. If I can say anything about these two projects, it is so just real and honest. Like, these songs were in a lot of ways my therapy and my way of getting through all of the emotions and really processing it and feeling it. So in a lot of ways, these songs were the reason that I got through it. And they're kind of just a snapshot at little different things I realized about myself or different feelings throughout these relationships. Track 1 on History of Breaking Up Part 2 is actually a love song, because I think in some ways you can't have the good without the bad, and they go hand in hand. I think how much you love somebody and how much you feel can be directly proportionate to how much pain you feel after the fact, and they kind of are just related. So I just wanted it to feel like a journey through these relationships, through all of this love that I went through. And I think hopefully people can find little pieces of their story through it too.
What song out of these 8 tracks do you think you're most proud of?
The first one that comes to mind is Trust Issues. I wrote that with the incredible Sasha Sloan, who I'm also such a fan of her music. I wrote it with her, Jesse Joe Dillon, and Nick Bailey. And I wrote it about a guy who broke my heart last year, and it was probably the hardest breakup that I've ever been through. I just went through so much after the fact. And for a while, it was hard to think about, it was hard to write about. And every time I got in the room to talk about it, I was just like, oh, it's too heavy. I don't want to bring all of that back up. But for some reason, I got into the room on this day and it just felt like it was meant to be. The girls kind of had their own situations that they had been through, and it turned into just us sharing our stories and our hearts. And honestly, it was like a big therapy session and just 4 friends like sitting around talking about life. And we just started writing down lyrics and being like, what if that's the verse? Let's just put that in there. And we walked away with a song that was just so my story. It was so, all the details, everything to the T was just so authentic, and it was my heart. And I knew there was no way I couldn't release it and it couldn't be a part of this project. And it's become one of my favorites that I've written for that reason. It just really, it's exactly where I was in that moment and what I needed to say. And it helped me let some of that go. And the messages that I've got from people too, the response on that song has been incredible to watch, how my pain and things that I went through can help somebody else in their situation. And it just makes it all worth it. It's really beautiful.
What song do you think from this album you're most excited to perform live?
Oh my goodness. That's a hard question. There's so many that come to mind. I think Me, Myself, and Why. I've already started adding that to sets, and it's just fun to watch people singing back. And it's just a fun song. I think it's high energy. I do this really long band outro and just let my guys jam out, and it's so much fun. But another one that comes to mind is History of Breaking Up, the title track. It's a song that kind of started this entire journey and what we've encapsulated all of these songs around. And it's actually like kind of an older song too. I wrote it about 4 years ago. So to watch the journey that this song has been on, it started out sounding so different, and through the years it's kind of evolved into what it is now, and I think what it was always meant to be. And I'm excited to finally play it out live and see how an audience reacts to it and just share that with them.
What would be like a goal that you want to accomplish in the next 10 years?
10 years, I'll be 31. Oh my God, it's so weird to think about. Honestly, for me, it's just continuing to write. Writing fires me up. That's the thing that inspires me the most. Continuing to write and just push myself to be more and more honest and more vulnerable. I'm excited to see the different things that come out in the room too. I think there's so many things that my heart has left to say. This project has been around these relationships and breaking up, but I've started writing love songs. I've started writing life songs, and it's really cool to start to see my artistry changing in that way and finding different levels to it. I can't wait to have a song on the radio, go #1. That's another goal of mine in the next couple of years. I've heard my song on the radio a couple times, and it's always really cool. But we'll be tackling that in the next little bit. So I feel like when you're a kid, that's what I dreamt about, was hearing my song on the radio, performing in stadiums, getting my music out to as many people as possible, and just chasing this crazy dream that I've had since I was 9, 10 years old. That's what I see myself doing in the next 10 years.
If you could collaborate with any artist, on one of your songs in the future, who would it be and why?
I've actually gotten to write with Shay quite a bit recently, and he's so incredible. So manifesting that. And then not in the country space, but an artist that I look up to so much is Bon Iver. I love his music. I love how different it is and how uniquely him it is. And I just think getting in a room and watching the way his brain works and seeing what we could create together would be so much fun.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sis.